Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ibrahim Semorang. In this special occasion, I would like to deliver my presentation about college students' response regarding Olympic sport so far in digital era. Next, abstract. How will state leverage international sport events to strengthen their international relations? The stress during this discussion is on the instruments that states have at their disposal. Sport diplomacy falls below public diplomacy that is employed to boost intermediate and long-run relations between states by influencing the general public abroad to accomplish policy goals. Gilboa, 2008. The common perspective of sport diplomacy as a power in digital era. Square Mutual A. Providing a definition of Olympic. B. Providing opinion regarding it. C. Bridging opinion regarding Olympic as a power in digital era. Therefore, the study additionally aims to lift faculty student awareness of Olympic as a power even in a world context. There will be some queries that may guide this analysis. Introduction. Sport diplomacy goes out with the participation of sport actors and also the government. Wherever even international, sport squares measures sometimes organized by the government of rustic through the bidding method in international sport competition. Athletes, World Health Organization contend to hold the name of their country and become a representative of of the country within the even the game. Or once the contestant wins on becomes associate degree idol. Delivery, the contestant may be a mission to claim the existence of the country and induce a positive image. Organization sport, even international, is traditionally a type of sport diplomacy. Become a number is a change for a rustic to indicate the great aspect of the country. So sport diplomacy, a rustic get an opportunity to boost the image status and economy at the international level, and additionally as a tool to unfold a political message. The gap. In completing sport diplomacy, of course, the role of diplomatic actors is required, and additionally, the contestant, wherever sport diplomacy as a type of diplomacy is an associate degree activity that may stand alone. The role of alternative international actors is required in its implementation. Additionally, the study attempts to justify and describe the role of the athletics, competition, or sport diplomacy as a soft power within the digital era to assist a rustic succeed, a rustic succeed is national interest for intense economy, politics, touristy, and etc. Even improve the country image. Research goal. The study can discuss uh, A. Definition of Olympic. B. Opinion regarding soft power. C. Opinion regarding Olympic as soft power in digital era. Therefore, the study additionally aims to boost faculty student awareness of Olympic as soft power even in global context. There will be some queries which will guide this analysis. 1. What do you know Olympic? 2. What do you think about soft power? 3. How Olympic sport become instrument diplomacy during this digital era? Literature review. Nowadays, the globe of diplomacy features a completely different pattern. From previous diplomacy, wherever within the past the mobilization of violence or the patriotism or realism was usually employed by a rustic in achieving the national goals of every country. Thus from that, as for the most weapon in implementation of sentimental diplomacy, specifically by exploitation media, in addition to relate and act in give sensible data to coach or to entertain with place culture, value, and policy a nation. Scott, 2009. The emphasis during the discussion is on the instrument that states have their disposal for diplomacy fall underneath public diplomacy that apply to boost intermediate and long-run relations between states by influencing the general public about to accomplish policy goals. Bilboa, 2008. Through a review of various policy objectives that square mutual common in many side diplomacy, we have tendency to discuss the effectiveness of sport as a platform of diplomacy. Empirical review. Sport diplomacy and its apply. On the field of 2020 capital of Japan Olympic Games have a tendency to mirror on the distinctive power of sport and its ability to bring individual nation and communicate nearer along this year. Athletic competition brought new contribution to the table six sport and discussion around fairness. Despite the physical absence of political figures and world leaders this year, the athletic competition have influenced social and political movements over the decade together with however athletes use their platform to uplift the voice of others. The early 70s introduced the term ping pong diplomacy, unstable game played from the US and China. Initial competed at the 31st World Table Game Championship despite the significant tension between the two nations. The match was quickly recognized because the beginning in mending relations between two countries throughout the conflict because it's resolved within the Yankee and Chinese government developing new channel communication with each others. Olympic so, Olympic sport as soft power in digital era. Since winning the 2020 games, there had been some anxiety concerning the soft competence of the athletic competition, particularly in terms of the gap and shooting ceremony. Several trouble that the organizer would produce one thing, barring misstatement performed with restricted charm outside definition domestic demographic, giving rise to ceremony reminiscent of down market awards show. Others perceive that the organization may persist with a huge art that may be inaccessible to a world audience which might ultimately be lost in translation. The recent government-sponsored Cool Japan initiative, as an example, has not made any tangible sense of coolness to ally such affirmation, in spite of Japan founders of Brongian economics expert stimulant. But outlay made some infrastructure success like the Shinkansen passenger train network. The skepticism toward the government making the version what truth about questionable Japan for the technology, popular culture, and has constantly been the territory of free mind rebels and mere the success of that derived from important truth and elementary freedom of expression, not from any centrally planned grand style. Research method. Research ways to a style of quantitative case study to clarify the small print of participants. Understanding of the scope of school student, a survey are conducted and faculty students to seek out their opinion concerning as faculty student respond concerning Olympic as soft power in digital era. The study was distributed on faculty student Muhammadiyah University Yogyakarta. Concerning 15 school students can participate during the study. The study can use from produce a form and distribute it to participants. The questionnaire example is: do you know about Olympic? 2. What do you know about diplomacy? 3. What do you think about soft power about sport diplomacy? Number 4. How Olympic becomes sport diplomacy during this digital era? This is the result in short bar, and this is the explanation. As you will see, within the table on top of that student response concerning student understanding of sport Olympiads that sport Olympiads are not to all any participant, followed by data of diplomacy in second place and data of sport diplomacy being all-time low. As you will see, that student opinion concerning sport power are in that are in third place. That means they need very little data concerning in it. As you will see, student opinion concerning sport diplomacy are graded in fourth place, which suggests the student data of sport diplomacy is incredibly very little and even sound foreign to student ears. The discussion. The results show the scholars of peacekeeping have already understanding concerning sport diplomacy. Some students feel that this sport diplomacy will attract the world attention through sport. There have been an equivalent perception concerning however Olympic sport may be instrument of diplomacy as a power in diplomacy, particularly within the huge event like Olympic and tournament through digital media, may be broadcast and worldwide in several countries, not solely in Asia. However, additionally in Europe, from the form is additionally seen that Indonesian faculty students terribly curious about the sector of sport diplomacy. Sport events are often want to produce a heritage for the host country of image within the world, making a heritage event for the country to try and enhance their image abroad. Organize a with success run sport. Even may be such a chance to showcase not slowly additionally to permit the guests and spectators to check the cultural and geographic great things about host nation. The final is conclusion. Within the lead-up, world media usually emphasize the shortage of progress in building the desired infrastructure. However, the power isn't given and solely manifests itself on sport. Managers and politicians perceive a way to leverage sport properly, to realize the objectives relate to within the first place. And additionally, this analysis paper proposed is especially in student opinion regarding definition regarding of Olympic, opinion regarding of soft power, opinion regarding of soft Olympic as soft power in digital era. That is the factor if happen during this analysis paper is so insertable. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time and some mistake from me and I apologize to you. Is my voice and my pronunciation is not good. I apologize to you once again. Last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.